Hello everyone, today we have one of the weirdest decks I've seen in a while, and it is going to be a Galactus Living Tribunal Patriot build. Now I've seen some Living Tribunals that run like a Professor X lockdown. I've ran one that had a Galactus line, but never one that merged those two ideals together, and definitely not one that had a Chavez. But I can see the appeal. Being able to know if you have your Galactus, your Onslaught, your Living Tribunal, that perfect line early could give you a little bit more comfort in when you can snap or not. It does make turn 6 a wasted draw if you go with the magic line, but one of my favorite things to do with this deck is to fake a magic line and then you Galactus somewhere else. If your Galactus doesn't go off, you do still get a turn 7. If it does go off, then the game is just over, and most of the time you would be able to win as a result. So this deck is going to have a lot of mind games involved. I saw this one on Untapped, and I thought, what in the world is this deck? There's no way that it can work well, but it was showing about a 75 to 80% win rate in Gold Conquest, so I had to give it a try for myself, and it's been very fun. It's been fairly efficient at being able to make sure that it does big plays. Now, I did end up losing one game in my testing to a Thanos control, and they dropped a heads up super scroll in the last turn and was able to counter us. Otherwise, I've been able to do enough mind games to win against just about any deck. A Silk Movement deck, if you can get a good heads up Galactus, they need a lot of space to be able to roam, and you can restrict them to one lane. Most other decks, you can set up your Invisible Woman into Iron Man, into Living Tribunal, into Onslaught, and just absolutely destroy any hopes and dreams that they have. And so this one has those consistency pieces that it's not always on Living Tribunal, it's not always on Galactus, it's not always on Patriot, but they're all in there as ways to potentially win those games. There's so much flexibility with this list that it's just one that you have to try out for yourself to see how it feels, but it can give you a lot of surprising ways to win, and I am having an absolute blast with it. I definitely recommend checking this one out if you do have the Galactus, Living Tribunal, and Legion. Everything else should be pretty easy to acquire, but we're going to jump into a couple of games. We're nearing up on 39,000, so if you're currently watching but not currently subscribed, definitely consider subscribing. I love having you guys here, and I love seeing our community grow. We are going to jump into a couple of games. Thank you guys as always. I hope you guys enjoy. Take out all of these. So I think the Living Tribunal is good. Do we even need to, though? Is the big piece of the question, because 28 power in both of these lanes, what can they do to overcome that? A Galactus in Miniaturized Lab? A Galactus in Miniaturized Lab, we do have initiative, so our Living Tribunal would go here and here, and so they wouldn't quite be able to get what they need, I don't think. Our second Living Tribunal doesn't really matter where it bounces necessarily. They do have the Carnage, which will destroy, and it's going to bounce somewhere else and have a lot of power. I'm so surprised that they stayed there. We do get a full clean sweep and early 4 cubes in the Gold Conquest. We're going to continue to push it as hard as possible. Such an interesting deck. I saw it on Untapped, and I just had no idea what we were in store for. None. All right, let's go ahead and skip here. The Invisible Woman into Mojo World is kind of interesting. We do get some power bonuses, so we have the Onslaught. We could always do Patriot into an Onslaught and Ultron. We can use magic in another lane. It would be a decent line for us, making sure that we fill up every single location. And then we could also do maybe Legion to Mojo World, and Ultron's going to fill up each of the locations, giving us probably the win regardless of power. Mindscape is a tough location. We still don't have Ultron, though. So let's go ahead and do magic, because we don't know which angle we're going to go with. The Iron Man into Onslaught into Living Tribunal is going to be fine if that's what we draw. The Patriot into Onslaught into Ultron, also going to be fine if we draw into it. The only maybe bad potential here would be the Electro the Wave. We could even make use of Galactus, so we are going to snap into it. We know that our turn 6 draw is going to be worthless. It's going to be the Chavez, not going to help drive us, but I imagine that the Chavez was put into this deck to get a better idea of what your early game draws and cards are going to be. The Galactus is not what we're looking for in this scenario. Let's go ahead and play the Patriot. We can then do Iron Man and an Onslaught. Both do very well over here, even if we draw Living Tribunal on the last turn. So it might be worthwhile to do that. Oh, no, I don't know. The Electro comes down. So we are going to draw Chavez. And then it's a kind of Hail Mary on what we draw on that last turn. We're going to go with it. The Iron Man in the left, the Onslaught in the left is going to be big, and the opponent is just going to question. They have no idea what we're going to be hiding. They could assume the Living Tribunal, but I don't think they're ever going to put us on having a Galactus or having a Patriot and Ultron. Super strange, but it makes a decent amount of sense when you think about it. You already have the Iron Man and Onslaught, which does good in a Patriot build that leans heavily on that Ultron last turn. It's just so strange to see, though. Okay, the Venom comes down, so they are going to have a cheap death. Pretty big null here. We're going to see. Let's see what we draw. No, that's the wave. That is not what we wanted to see. We could do 10 power. 10 power is the best we can do. It's just 14 power. A death gives them a tie here. Maybe they mess up the placement. Probably not, but maybe. They do play in the right lane. They play in the left lane as well, so I'm curious to see what they threw over in that direction. Let's see. Let's see if we had the right call. The null, the Carnage in the right lane is not going to be big enough. It helps their null out, but we have the Iron Man, the Onslaught, and the Patriot, and I think that should be enough with the double Iron Man and the 9 power Onslaught, the 5 power. That is going to be enough. We do grab the second 4-cuber against Cosmic Reverb. It's not clean, but honestly, who would have expected this? Let's go ahead and... I apologize, Cosmic. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Kai. The first location is Monster Island, so... I mean, honestly, we have a pretty good line of just Invisible Woman into Patriot into Ultron. That is going to be really hard to top. They do have Kitty Pryde, so maybe they're running the Taskmaster version. Could be the Silk movement. It could just be like a good Kitty Pryde into like Hulkbuster value Kitty Pryde that's looking to just abuse the Shuri and Kitty Pryde lines. Have 4 energy. I mean, we can't really do anything great, honestly. They're gonna get the free raft resource, which kind of makes me sick a little bit. But what we are gonna be able to do is hide a Legion into Monster Island. We'll be able to get some benefit from the Patriot. It's not the perfect play, but it's the play that we're gonna go with. They get the Angela, the Kitty Pryde. They do have the Silk, so it is the Silk movement. The Silk movement, like the Craven version of this build, and so they could have a Legion of their own. And so I think we're gonna do Legion. It'll put a 9 power monster here and here for both of us if we both have space. I'm kind of hoping that they don't. We could always attempt a Galactus on turn number 5, potentially just overriding everything that's here, but they have the free raft resource. I'm not sure that we want to risk it. With their Silk bouncing into the Superflow, they do lose that extra energy while we still retain it. Magic's interesting. I don't know if it's good or not, but it's interesting. We could always do Galactus here, but I think we're going to do something like this. We don't know if Galactus is going to go off, and then even more so after that point, we don't know if it would be able to win after the fact. I think a lot of the versions do cut Shang-Chi, but well, we have Sarah. Ooh, that's new. You don't see Sarah in very many of them. So we could have gotten the Galactus to go down. It's unfortunate. We have the wave, though, so they are only going to be able to play 1 card on this final turn. And so the Ultron here. Ooh, but that fills this up. And we wouldn't be able to get the extra monster, which is going to be better than the Ultron bots, because that's going to be a total of 12. The monster alone will be a total of 12. The monster alone will be a total of 11. So Galactus, if it doesn't go off, then we're fine. If it does, then we win. Let's go ahead and send it. We're going to do Galactus, see if it hits. Ooh, they do have Shang-Chi built in. And so we don't have monster in the left lane anymore. There's... It's always the random Galactus decks that absolutely mess with your mind. So them not having any response to the Galactus, we are able to hold this one down. Oh, poor Kai. All right, so the left location is Nidavellir. We can change that with magic, or we can just let it rip. The Onslaught, the Iron Man, potentially Living Tribunal could be the line that we want to go with. Oh my goodness, Galactus again. Let's go ahead and snap on them. Their deck typically wants to operate under the premise of having a lot of space to be able to move across the board. Galactus can absolutely limit that freedom. And so we could either ramp with Electro into a Galactus, or we could just wave into our Galactus if we wanted to. But we do have Living Tribunal, so I think we're gonna go Electro. If we don't draw an Iron Man, then we're gonna go something like Magic here or here to be able to extend the game. Because if we can get Onslaught, Iron Man, Living Tribunal all in Nidavellir, then I don't think there's a single way that we can lose. Of course, they have the Shang-Chi that they could use to destroy our Living Tribunal, I guess. But it is what it is. So Iron Man top deck would be beautiful. Legion. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Turn 5, we'll be able to do like a wave into magic. Wave into magic, and then we can throw down a Galactus on a different lane. I mean, I've seen much worse being played, and so the Kraven, the Kitty Pryde are both going to be destroyed here. They do keep their Jeff for now, but that's perfectly fine. We will play a card into probably left and probably middle, adding our options, I suppose. It's either that or we stack the two. Let's stack the two. Let's stack the two, hope that they don't move their Jeff. They do move the Jeff. They play a card in the left and a card in the right. That is interesting. And so these cards are going to clear. We have the one card in the magic in the left lane. So unless Galactus does trigger and does go off, this would be the end of the game. We could potentially do Living Tribunal into like an Iron Man on turn number 7. I do like a good Galactus line though, because if this can go off, we win the game. If not, then it's up in the air. I like a good set of mind games. Right now, the Limbo location is a potential, and so if Galactus fails, we're safe. If it does not, then the game is over and we win. Go ahead and try it. Yes. Poor Kai. Oh, it's too late to be running Galactus. That is awful. And so what looks like a 2-cuber turns into a 4-cuber very quickly. Poor Kai is just taking the brunt of our damage. Actually, because there was Silk guarding the lane and didn't have a space to pull out of, we should have played it mid. I forgot that Rickety Bridge would still destroy our cards and Silk would not move. Unfortunate. Oh well. Okay. Okay, so we have Iron Man, we have Living Tribunal, we have Magic to set everything in motion. We have to watch out for the Shang-Chi, potentially an Enchantress if they're running like a full counter. We definitely want to save a Magic for the last turn that we're going to be playing. The Invisible Woman clears up all of those concerns that we had. Let's go ahead and go Invisible Woman in the left lane. 9-power Galactus is always very welcome. The Iron Man Living Tribunal Onslaught combo is also going to be a bit of a surprise for the opponent. And this one has so many different like weird lines. Oh, and they did hit the unfortunate Space Throne in the right lane. They have something there. Maybe it's Kitty Pryde. And so maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. But it feels like it's probably... No, they're probably fine. We haven't seen them play any other 1-drop besides Kitty Pryde. So I think they're fine here. Invisible Woman in the left lane. We go ahead and change mid with Magic. Next turn is going to be just kind of a bypass round. We don't know... Ooh, it's Jeff. So Jeff is fine. They go ahead and play Shadow King, and they have a really cool variant for him. Let's go ahead and Magic. Or let's go ahead and... No, yeah. Let's go ahead and wave, I guess. We're going to wave Iron Man in the left lane. And depending on what we draw into, the Onslaught is beautiful. The Ultron, I guess, would be actually not great because of Space Throne, which we do draw into the Ultron, unfortunately. Let's go with the Living Tribunal. Why? I don't know. We're going to go Living Tribunal first, just for giggles. We could always do a Legion into Space Throne and then just kind of cut them off from being able to play anywhere else. That would be very fun to see. But we can't draw our Legion. We're going to draw Chavez on this next turn, so it is what it is. They do finally get the Sarah down on 5 without the restriction of a wave, without the threat of a Galactus, and so they are in a good place. I guess we could threaten a Galactus over here. If we really... it's not bad. Like, it's not bad. We have the Living Tribunal down already. We can throw Iron Man on top of it. That would help us with a little bit of reach over here. It's not the worst play in the world. If it goes off, we win. We're gonna send it. Oh no, the Spider-Man. Okay, jumps into limbo. We are fine there. They do pull our Living Tribunal out of our deck. Kraven comes down. Miles Morales in the left lane. The Living Tribunal helps us make sure that we can win the Space Throne with the Galactus. But it could have also put us into a tricky spot where we just wouldn't have been able to. We could have locked in the Galactus lane, but not won the game entirely after Living Tribunal disappeared. We will, and so now, I take back what I said last time. Now it is the scenario where it goes from a 2-cuber to a 4-cuber really quickly because they were under the assumption that Magic was going to be intact, and we will absolutely take it every single time. They are down to 4 bars of health. All it takes is 1 more of those, and being able to yank away the Magic location in such a fun or kind of optimal way is so tricky as the opponent, because do you retreat more cautiously? Do you just double down and then you could potentially lose 2, 4, or even 8 cubes if you decide to snap back? It just turns those medium level threat games into very high level threat games. Mirror Dimension is kind of scary. It could copy Vormir, so I'm going to go ahead and play Invisible Woman into the right lane. Just in case we go with a Living Tribunal route, we want to have the space available. So they have Kraven over there. Mojo World is an interesting one. Let's go ahead and do our wave into Living Tribunal, or we can mess with them. We can do wave into Vormir. To make them think that we're going to sacrifice here. It's kind of fun. I kind of like it. We're going to do wave into Vormir, allowing a potential Galactus on the next turn. And then if they played there, so if they have initiative going into this next turn and they played in Vormir, it would get destroyed. Do we want to do that? I don't know. I don't know. Because then what are our follow-up plays? Our follow-up plays are going... Actually, I mean, that and then Iron Man, Legion, or Chavez. I came into this really expecting to do the Living Tribunal in the right lane. But the more I think about it, the better Galactus sounds here. They could try to push Silk into Vormir, and then that way they at least have some power. We're going to stay below Shang-Chi range. If they have an Enchantress, that's a little bit scary. Otherwise, I think we're okay here. The Legion, the Iron Man, could be a potential 200 and spread between these 2 lanes. Let's go with the Galactus round. That's the fun one, because they have Jeff, they haven't played anything into Vormir, so it is going to die, and they had to make sure that they had that protected. So they wanted to sacrifice a card this turn. They wasted their Jeff so that they can start playing cards and getting them to stick into Vormir on turn 5 and not have to waste that entire round there as well. Let's go Iron Man. We are hoping that they don't have Enchantress. I mean, we could go Legion into Iron Man. We don't need to go super greedy with the Iron Man Onslaught, I don't think. This stays below Shang-Chi range. Can they get anything that's above 15? I think it's going to be tough for them to do that. And then that way they don't necessarily know if they should throw Enchantress or not. That's going to be the kind of backup line that I'm going to go with. They have Sarah, so they will be able to play a lot of cards here. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. This is going to be essentially an extra 15 power that is below Shang-Chi. Unless they just do a very big heads-up Enchantress, we should have this one. Finalized. That is a very dedicated retreat. It's really hard to okay, well, we do grab the win versus Kai, and that is where I'm going to go ahead and end the video. This one was a little bit longer, so I'm not going to show the entire gold run. I will go ahead and finish it out on my own, but we're going to go ahead and end the video. Thank you guys as always for being here. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and a comment down below. As always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.